Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Matthew Conlon and today we're talking about Dragon Ball stuff. This is the epilogue to my Broly and Cheelai spin-off series as inspired by Masako X's video about the same thing. So just to recap, Broly had to fight a bunch of villains, a Minotaur-esque figure named Zolgorgon who was eventually turned into a friend. Zolgorgon was in the employ of Boss Cheelai, a rat-faced alien crime boss who had a robot ally who seemed to be his Gal Friday type. We also had him face off against Jiraiya, the Cyber Queen, who used a group of Cybermen to try and defeat him. And then Matthew was a grasshopper alien like Gregory from the planet of King Kai. He used sniping and traps. Through all of that, Cheelai and Lemo had learned to power up a little bit through training in the martial arts with Zolgorgon. Broly had learned how to tamp down his power level, and then finally he had faced a retconned Janemba. Tried to rehabilitate that movie villain, creating a figure that was created near the beginning of the universe to consume negative emotion and sin so that everyone could be happy and it would be a paradise, who had then been imprisoned for some reason. That figure felt cast off, punished for doing his job. Broly fought him. He related to that villain in a particular way. After that villain had consumed all of his negative emotions, he saw something to relate to there. And then he had learned how to transform into Super Saiyan God, albeit a slightly modified Broly-esque version of it with giant hair. And that was where we leave off. And so then we pick up here. So we go back to Boss Cheelai's pizza-shaped ship, where he's been observing the events through a series of satellites or drones. He finds out Zolgorgon betrayed him. Jiraiya never went back to report to him. She didn't want to deal with the trouble. But in the top right-hand corner here, we see that he's discovered that Cheelai is a wanted felon and that she's over there sort of independently. So he reports her to the Galactic Patrol. And so the Galactic Patrol dispatches a couple of cops to come and arrest Cheelai. When they get there, unexpectedly, she has developed a certain level of combat capability. She ends up fending off their ground forces, so they call in for backup. And we go from there. Sorry about the blur here. It clears up in just a second. So there we see Cheelai using her newly developed baseline martial arts skills to disarm a galactic patrolman. And they call for reinforcements. Meanwhile, Lemo is going through taking an inventory of what sort of resources they have to fight off the Galactic Patrol. Broly is in something of a state. They don't want Broly to have to deal with this. They want to keep him off Galactic Patrol's radar. So Lemo finds one of Matthew's stocks of weapons, and he's pretty happy about that. He was afraid that they weren't really going to have anything to fight with. He is older. He lacks the vigor to make really effective use of martial arts, since it hasn't been like a lifetime thing like it would have been for Master Roshi. And so when the Galactic Patrol shows up, he's used some of Matthew's explosives. Maybe he lines the ships when they land to do scouting, or maybe they're floating mines out there in space. And Zolgorgon decides that he's going to do something about it. He returns with the intent of turning state's evidence on Boss Cheelai. He doesn't want the Galactic Patrol harassing them. So he shows up, says, hey, I'm going to flip on my former crime boss of the Cheelai Syndicate. And that's when we find out that T-Kip has been recording everything. And because Boss Cheelai was too cheap to have him properly deleted and reset, he ends up just revealing everything that upsets Cheelai. We cut back to the planet. Broly's still recovering. Cheelai and Lemo are taking a minute to just sort of relax. And that's when Goku shows up quite unexpectedly. And he says, "Is now a bad time to train?" And Lemo's response is like, "Yeah, maybe not the best." And that's it. There's our epilogue. I think I wrapped up all of the plot lines with the exception of the escape of Jiraiya. And later on, we could always bring Boss Cheelai back. He could break out of jail, get out on a technicality. All kinds of different directions we could go from there. I had a ton of fun doing this. It was great practice, doodling high speed like that. Certainly not as fast as you were watching it, but much faster than I usually do. Thanks so much for sticking around. I'll have more of my Dungeons and Dragons stuff up this week. I just finished my Summoner class. I got to test it this weekend, and so I'll have some discussion about some of the changes that I'm going to make to it, and I'll put a link to the document in the description of that video. Thanks again, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you back here next time.